Click start streaming. I'm believing. There's my practice one this afternoon.
I think you're
I
Good?
think I am.
All right.
Okay. Call this meeting to order. All face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. Roll call, Misty Hess.
Here.
R.J. Dunman.
Here.
Tim Yocum. I want to congratulate Misty Hess for being the first lady elected as a commissioner of Vermillion County.
Congratulations.
First of all, I want to address an issue and make sure that everything's okay with tonight with the meeting. It's the first time I've been here for 10 years. It's the first time that a special meeting has been called like this. So the ordinance, as it's written, I'll just read what it says. It's a special meeting notice. If the public interest requires a special meeting of the executive, such as a meeting may be called by a member of the executive or by a county auditor, clerk, recorder. An officer calling the special meeting of the executive shall give at least 48 hours notice of the meeting unless the meeting is called to deal with an emergency under IC 5-14-1.5-5. The notice must include a specific statement of purpose of the meeting. An executive may not conduct any unrelated business of the meeting. Which brings the question, I've been here for 10 years and there's never been something like this done. The meeting was called by R.J. Donovan. He posted a notice up. I was not notified of any meeting until I seen a notice. In the last 10 years, we have worked together as commissioners. And anytime there's a special meeting, we all call each commissioner, and you can watch back through the 10 years of meetings we've had here. We've all been very considerate of the other two commissioners to make sure that everyone could meet that meeting. This meeting was called when I was notified of it. I did not know about it. I had to call and cancel my work tonight to be here. So therefore, I have a lot of questions about the legitimacy of this meeting. If it's a special meeting and needed to be done because of emergency or not, a special thing from the community had to be done. I don't see the purpose of this meeting being called unless there's some alternative, something else that someone wants to do. So my question is, and the other thing is, it was called on, I think on the day before New Year's Eve or something like that. I seen the notice outside, which was fine. But my question is, what I've been told is the holidays don't count in that 48-hour notice. Now, if we're gonna have a meeting and we're gonna do it right. I think that if there's any question about the legitimacy of the meeting, I know some people called me and asked what was going on because there was not, I don't believe, ample time given to the people. And if it's just a routine meeting, I don't see anything on this agenda that's no more than what was the January 14th meeting was going to be on. So I'm questioning this. I think that we in government have a responsibility to the people to notify the public and give them ample time to respond. And also, I don't know if it's a legitimate meeting. And if it's not a legitimate meeting, I think that we need to consider before we're going farther if it is a legitimate meeting.
John, this meeting was posted Monday. It was posted outside the courthouse. It was emailed to the appropriate parties and to the local news. Is there anything that you've seen that makes this not a legitimate meeting?
The statute says 48 hours. It doesn't say anything in it about holidays not counting.
Yeah, and Tim, furthermore, if you would answer your phone, I called you multiple times before I called.
You did not call me, sir.
Yes,
No,
I did, Tim. You don't answer your phone calls, and that's fine. You don't answer my phone calls in the past 4 years, which is fine. I called you, you didn't return my call. I called Commissioner-elect Hess.
I refuse to answer that.
Well, the
Just
truth's
move
the
on.
truth. Okay,
not true.
so whatever. I called Commissioner-elect Hess. She had agreed to the meeting. We called the meeting. I didn't call this meeting without reaching out to the other commissioners. Misty Hess was in favor of this meeting, so 2 commissioners called this meeting. I would like for you to move on with the agenda.
No, I'm not done. The standard procedure has always been that way. the call out of respect and make sure everybody had, if you look at all the meetings that have been done, every time I've asked you, are you busy? Do you have to work? I've
Tim,
always
I
done
attempted
that.
to reach you. You did
I've
not
always done
respond.
that. We've always done that.
I'm not.
I got to work tonight.
I'm not.
okay?
Tim, everybody has to work. Everyone's got jobs, not just you. Okay.
I know that.
I miss meetings. I miss work all the time to come to commissioners meetings.
But the question
I
here
have
is
nothing
that I
else to
have
add, and we'd like to
is
move
a
on.
48-hour notice legitimate with holidays included. If we have no problem, I have no problem here.
I read you what the statute says. It says 48 hours. I don't know what else to tell you. I can continue doing research and try to find out if there's some other provision under some other part of the code. I don't know.
I'm just trying to make it legitimate. If we ain't got a legitimate meeting here, we shouldn't be doing it. If we do, that's fine. That's what I'm asking.
Tim, even with a holiday, it was called Monday, and today is Thursday. That's plenty enough time for 48-hour notice.
What's the determination?
I said I don't know. I can continue to do research if you want, but I've read you the statute. I've emailed you the statute, and then you've just read the statute, and then I just read again. It says 48 hours.
Okay.
I'll keep looking if you want me to.
I'm just saying our standard procedure, we've always been here very open with all the commissioners and made sure everybody could make it. And that's the way we decided. Even when RJ acts like every meeting we've been here, we've always included everybody.
Tim, we've all got things to do tonight. Let's move on with the meeting. The 48 hours, even if you take the holiday into account, it meets the 48-hour notice. Please move on with the rest of the agenda.
Does it?
Anybody can do the math.
I don't know how many different ways to tell you. It says 48 hours. That's what the law says. It's 48
You can
hours.
count it Monday to Thursday.
Any other? So we're gonna open this up to public comment. If anybody has a comment, please come up here. Got 3 minutes. Anybody wants to come up?
What? Neil Costello, I live in Fairview Park on the county council. What was the Indiana code that you cited?
The one I'm reading says, let me get back to it.
I will also, for the record, state that I am not an attorney and don't pretend to be one. Just read.
I got it right here if you want to read it.
Who wants to know the code? Can you tell me?
36-2-2-8.
The one I've looked at in the past was called Indiana Code Title 5, which was 5-14-1.5-5, which at Section 5 that said that public notice, date and time, place of any meetings, executive sessions, or any rescheduled or reconvened meeting shall be given at least 48 hours, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays. It goes on further. Read all that, but I was just making sure I understood which law was being cited and which one I have always referred to in the past to make sure I'm not confused.
Can you show him that? Yeah, the one you
What
have.
was that number again?
Look at it.
This said Indiana Code. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know what all this means, but it's the one I've looked. Indiana Code Title 5, 5-14-1.5-5, current as of January 2, 2024. Unless that applies to
I don't know, Reed.
state and local administrations, what is a section.
But I'm hearing, RJ, you think that the notice came out Monday and that no matter how it's counted, still 48 hours elapsed?
Well, unless I don't know how to
Because
count.
I don't remember exactly when the notice
Yeah,
came out.
the notice was posted Monday afternoon, so if I'm doing my math correctly, today is Thursday, and that is plenty enough time for 48 hours notice. So even if we take into consideration the holiday, I would like to,
And I'm not saying that it doesn't take into consideration the holidays. I'm just stating that holidays and weekends do not count for public notice. It's always
I
in my opinion.
Yeah, I understand.
Because like for bid purposes.
Yeah.
For
So if you would have called, if
public
the meeting would have been noticed on Tuesday, it wouldn't count.
yeah, I'm just looking for clarification
Yeah,
on
but
that.
it was posted on Monday, so
Yeah.
the holiday doesn't. Yeah, so
Fair enough. That was the only thing
that's
that
why
caught
it was
my
posted
attention.
on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else got any public comment? Anybody? I want to say congratulations again to Misty Hess. I think it's historical that we had the First Lady elected as commissioner. Look forward to working with her as in the future. So we'll go ahead with election officers, and I want to say tonight I appreciate serving for the years I have served. We've done a long ways, accomplished a lot, and I look forward to possibly some more years here. Wait and determine what happened. And I'd like to, first of all, I would, as president of the commission, I would like to nominate Misty Hess as to become president of the commission first, if she would accept that or not. I just thought I would make that recommendation, and she's free to make a decision whatever way she wants to make.
Well, I'm humbled and I'm honored, but I am, I don't feel like this is the right time for me to do that. So, yeah, so I'm going to have to pass, but I am humbled and I'm very honored. So I appreciate it.
Okay, appreciate that. Take a motion from the floor for president.
So I, with Tim going into, potentially going into the representative, state representative 42, I was going to make a motion because I'm not capable. I mean, I am capable of running the meetings, but I don't feel comfortable running the meetings at this point. So I feel that RJ would be the best of the three of us right now to do that. So I nominate RJ to be the president of the commission. So
A nomination for RJ to be president of the commission. Commissioners?
Second the nomination.
Second the nomination. RJ is now have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Staying. Vice president.
I'll make a motion to nominate Misty Hess as vice president of the Board of Commissioners for 2025.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Listen.
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
The block over here as well, Tim. Thank you. Misty, congratulations on your vice president. And we will move on with the rest of the meeting. I'd emailed the rest of the commissioners about a meeting schedule for 2025. We discussed this late in 2024. There are some discrepancies with the current schedule, how we always meet every 2 weeks, alternating morning and night. Misty, I believe what works best for your schedule is evening meetings. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Where's this paperwork at we should have on this meeting here with included in this meeting?
There is no meeting agenda, Tim. We had sent out an email and said bring your recommendations and ideas for.
No, the auditor should be supplying this information.
Yeah, but I told you in the email that there was no packet for this meeting because this is just a discussion between commissioners. And I had said in the email if you have any ideas for a meeting schedule to bring them forward.
I disagree with that.
You can disagree with it, but that's what was sent to the email. I can't help with it if you didn't read that. So therefore, we need to set a meeting schedule for the rest of the calendar year for 2025. The floor is open for suggestions. If anybody's got any recommendations.
I have one recommendation that needs to continue. I worked for years for the Commissioner's Mentoring Program. If all night meetings are included, it eliminates a very good program that's been here for years. I am working with school corporations to find out what is the best dates and the time of year to have those meetings. I would recommend 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall, and both of those would have to be day meetings.
And Misty, still any day meetings, anything that's not in the evening, you would not be able to attend. Is that correct?
Yes, potentially. If I needed to, I could potentially I know that that's a great program, and I'd hate to see it go away just because I can't come to meetings during the day. So,
yeah, with that, Tim, have you checked with the schools to see if any of these kids can participate in the evening just because they're not in school? Can they still not participate in a commissioner's mentoring program and still attend the night meeting and still come to the courthouse during the day between school hours and to the courthouse?
I don't agree with that. And that's, as far as having a meeting for years and working it that way, it's part of them when they come to school, and the sheriff department picks them up and brings them here and takes them back. And I'm very firm in what I want to do, and it's one top honors in the entire United States, and I wish it to continue the way it is. I think Misty agreed with she don't want it to go away, and I think.
Well, nobody's saying go away, Tim. We're just trying to figure out the meeting schedule for 2025.
It'll be day meeting for all 4 of those.
did you say spring and fall?
Yeah, it'll be 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall. And I'm waiting to hear back because the schedule with the school, you know, they got finals and everything, so I'm trying to get it on the dates that is most applicable for the schools, and also the schools could have planned ahead because they already know those dates in the future. In the past, we call up and say, hey, you got someone available,
Yeah.
and so it takes away good planning. So
Yeah, John, I had spoke to you a little bit about how the old commissioners used to conduct business, and they used to conduct business. It was one meeting a month, and the second meeting was for, what was it, claims?
What they used to do, it used to be the first Tuesday of the month, they did an evening meeting. And that was a normal meeting, like how we normally do our meetings. Then they would have a second meeting scheduled sometime other in that month, usually in the daytime, and they wouldn't put anything on the agenda except approving like the payroll vouchers and stuff like that. And then 2 of the 3 would meet here, no public comment, no other business. They just go through and sign payroll and stuff that need to be signed off on. But the only business meeting used to be once a month in the evenings.
Okay. I would like to put before the Board of Commissioners, I think we can accomplish everybody's goals here. I think we could go to 1 meeting a month for regular commissioner scheduled meetings, and then we could have 1 business meeting a month in the morning. That way, that would cover once a month. This would be 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall for the student mentoring program to come in, participate in a meeting, and then go through all the courthouse and do all their things that they do. Would anybody have any objections to, Eric, of all the days, is Wednesday the most open day normally? Because I know we normally,
By and large, yes.
Wednesday's the day.
I do want to say on meeting schedules, the biggest thing is having meetings so people can come to them. And originally, when I first started here, they changed it all morning meetings, and I thought that was a really disservice to the public. And so when RJ came along, and we felt like we could do better than that, and we ended up having a morning meeting, which made the courthouse and everybody locally that worked shift work or couldn't be there work, and then the evening meeting was always good for everybody. So I just think that our main concern as far as elected officials and commissioners, that we service the public and make the public aware and be able to come to all the meetings as possible. So that's my comment.
Well, Eric, back to my original question before you were interrupted. What day has the most open? Wednesday, is that correct?
Wednesdays of the entire calendar for most weeks of the month, Wednesday is the most open.
Okay.
A few meetings scheduled.
Here and there.
Tuesday, where you guys meet now,
Yeah,
is the heaviest day of the week
for meetings.
throughout the month.
Okay. I would like to throw on the table then for the commissioner's consideration would be have a regular business meeting the 3rd Wednesday of every month, and then have a second meeting. And John, was that normally after the regular business meeting? Is that how that would be? Or would it just kind of...
What's that?
For the payroll and claims?
They would just have a meeting on the calendar for 2 of them to meet and approve payroll.
Okay. But I mean, was it set for the year though?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think it was like 2 weeks after the regular one, they'd have a morning, and they'd just come in here and like in 5 minutes, they'd sign all the payroll.
Okay. So instead of like maybe the third month, I guess you could do I guess it wouldn't matter really, I guess, when you're doing claims and payroll then, would it?
You may want to consult with the auditor, because there's something about that 2-week cycle that threw us off a few years ago. Because if you remember, there were some oddball meetings during the year that had to be called because of the timing of when payroll needed signed.
I didn't know if there was some ordinance or resolution where you could like sign stuff, prevent or, earlier than you do or after the fact, where you can go ahead and pre-approve them.
You can authorize certain routine things to be paid if it's like the same thing.
Every month. Okay.
We might be able to put together something like that for payroll.
Okay. Well, is there any consideration then on the 3rd Wednesday of every month for a regular scheduled meeting, and then a second meeting of the month to approve just payroll and claims as needed? Is there any?
I can't respond to that without looking at the schedule. I'm sorry, I just can't with my work schedule. I have to have some time to look at that. To give you an honest answer, I can't do that. I'm not saying you go ahead and pass if you want to, but I'm saying I have time to look at my schedule to find out.
Tim, when we emailed the other day and asked you to bring a recommendation, did you have any recommendation other than
No,
just
I'm letting you guys make a recommendation. I want to make sure. I can't give you feedback until I look at how it's laid out on my schedule to give you feedback, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Misty, you have any
Which
comments?
is, I think, the consideration that we all give each other.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
I say we make a recommendation today, and then pass at the next meeting would be the right way to do it. It gives us some time to make sure these things are right.
Well, I would like to tonight set the regular meeting schedule for 2025. If the majority of the board would do that. We've had plenty of time to discuss meetings since November.
It's got to be done.
First meeting I have, they're supposed to set the schedule for the year.
It says
If
the
you're going to
exec-
speak, sir, you got to come from the platform, sir.
Well, I was just getting ready to email these guys the statute. It says the executive shall hold a regular meeting at least once each month and at other times as necessary. Dates of regular meetings shall be established by resolution at or before the first meeting in February of each year. So you got a little
bit of
time.
time. Yep. Misty, do you have any opinion on the recommendation?
I mean, I think it's fair that the third Wednesday and the second, but if we made a recommendation and Tim could look at his schedule, I think that would make it fair.
Okay. So the third of every month, or the third Wednesday of every month, and then the second at some point in that month. Tim, are you going to give us a timeline when you'll let us know?
Yes. By next meeting, I could give you my recommendations and we can make a final vote on it. That's okay.
And our next meeting is scheduled, that was scheduled in December, was scheduled for January the 14th, I believe. Is that right?
I will not be here at the January 14th meeting.
Is that when it was scheduled?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. So are you asking for that meeting to be moved, Tim?
That's up to you. I'm just saying I can't be here. And if you guys want to think we move around, that's fine. I'm just saying I can't be there tonight. If you got a different recommendation, I'm open to that. So.
Misty, you have any opinion on the matter? Penny, did you check to see if that messed with the public hearing any? It was moved.
Penny Carpenter, Vermillion County Area Plan Executive Director. We have advertised that we will be having our public hearing on the proposed UDO on January the 9th. I do expect at that time for the APC to certify it and send it on to the commissioners. We advertised at that time that it would be on the 14th at 6. It just starts the clock ticking. So we don't have to, I mean, if you guys have to move the meeting, that's fine. It'll just be on your next one. Just know that your clock will start on January 9th when we certify.
Any comments on the 14th or?
I mean, I'm good for the 14th, but it sounds like Tim's not good for the 14th. So
My only availability other than the 14th that week is the 15th. So it's either stay on the 14th or move it to the 15th.
can you do the 15th, Tim?
I won't be there that night either because I got to work that night. That's fine. Just go ahead and have the meeting. Sometime we got things we got to do. I'm easy to get on.
You can't be there on the 15th. You can't be there on the 15th.
I post work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights that night.
Yeah.
So are you open either 9th and the 14th or 15th?
Yeah, let me pull up my calendar. I mean, moving it doesn't make sense if Tim can't be at either one of them, so I would leave it on the 14th, if that's the case.
Fine.
All right. We will leave the meeting on January 14th at 6 p.m. All right. Anything else under meeting schedule? No? All right. Next item on the agenda, EDC. These two next items we've put on here for some discussion. We've had a lot of discussion, Tim, with the EDC over the last 4 years as commissioners. Misty, you may or may not know a lot of the EDC and the discussions that we've had. Briefly, I just want to say a few things about the economic development and how it has been. Prior to this administration, the majority of the commissioners had changed economic development with the county council and took it from a commission that oversaw economic development in our county. Now, when they'd done this, they changed it to a department to where a coalition oversees it. Prior to doing this, the Economic Development Commission had done everything from helping our small towns with water projects, parks departments, and especially supporting small business loans. Since the coalition has been developed, 0 small business loans have been giving out. 0. The majority of the commissioners and council said that the economic development in this county will be overseen by this coalition. And It'll be a department of the commissioners. Since then, we have lost 3 employees in economic development, 1 director, 1 secretary, and 1 assistant/director. So for starters, economic development has had a rapid turnover of employees since the commissioners and councils have created this coalition, a department of the commissioners, and that the commissioners have overseen. So at a very brief minimum, under the commissioners' leadership, we cannot retain any employees of any long time. And in my opinion, it has been a failure, this department of the coalition. And I don't have Amanda Heber's letter here that she had wrote to us when she had left, but I'm going to paraphrase some things that she said when she left. She was promised this job by Commissioner Yoakum in text and phone call multiple occasions.
was involved in every bit of this.
Tim, I am talking. You are out of order. You will respect my time, and you can talk after I'm done. In this letter to the county, she had said that Tim had promised her that job, and it is also true that I had given my support to her for that job. And since the commissioners at the time did not act, we lost yet another employee to economic development. We have multiple projects going on in this county, whether it's the I-74 corridor, whether it's 163, whether it's housing developments. We have nobody leading economic development. Yes, in December we did sign a contract with a company to help oversee some things. But the bottom line is, ever since this was changed, we have not improved economic development in Vermillion County. So my recommendation before the Board of the Commissioners is very simple. Delegate our authority as county commissioners back to the Economic Development Commission, like it was before for 20 years. Yes, there were some things where the coalition or the advisory council had taken over the commission's voting powers. That was cleaned up. I would like to delegate that authority back to the commission, and the commissioners in economic development at the minimum should be separate. As you can see, when we oversee economic development, nothing good comes of it. Nothing. We are micromanaging a department. We are running away employees, good employees, for no good reason. Zero. This county has lacked a vision for the last 4 years and years beyond that. Furthermore, it is my belief that the commission members, that one of the commission members' term is not up until the 29th of January. The previous administration had made some appointments in December. And John, I'd like to know on those if how that would work if the majority believes that that appointment was not made correctly on that.
Which appointment are you referring to?
I'm referring to my dad on Economic Development Commission.
What was the question you had? Again, state your question again.
I didn't have a question, Tim. I've already said it to John. I didn't have a question for you.
I had a question for you. I asked you a question.
I said Ron Donovan is what I said, Tim.
Okay.
So what I would think, there's provision of that statute that allows for judicial review upon removing an officer. So what my thought would be is if you're undoing that appointment, that would effectively be the removal of an officer. So then if that person didn't think that was fair, they could file something upstairs and ask the judge to review and make a decision on whether it's a legal removal or not.
Okay. So even if we believe that appointment's not up until the 29th,
if you want to take that action, you'd make a finding that we think this was not done properly, and so we're going to undo it. And then the person who was appointed would have the right to have that decision reviewed if they want to.
So the question is, was that legitimate during that time? We had a time frame of people being appointed. That time frame was in December the 31st. That made it open to new people being applied. It did not go into February.
Well, that's Tim, 31st is what the county sets for our appointments, but certain appointments like the commission or like health board, some of those are set by IC code. A lot of our appointments are. Some of our appointments are county made to end at the 31st. Others are.
All of them are. Almost every one of them are end of the year. That's why we make appointments end of the year.
Well,
yes, sir.
Well, we do now, but not in 2020, Tim, when we were elected, because they were way late till January. Remember, Commissioner-elect Hess asked you guys to wait them until January, and you and Britton said no.
Well, it's still the end of the year and starting a new year.
But regardless, what I'm saying is, you don't say they're always made in the end of the year, because they're not. In 2020,
they terminate at the end of the year.
No, they do not.
Most, almost all of them do.
So we can agree
That's
to
why we
disagree.
bank them at the end of the year.
We can agree to disagree.
Can I say something?
If you're gonna say something, please come up.
Tim, I've got it.
You're right,
I've
say
got it. You come to the podium, state your name.
Ron Dunlap, I'm the current auditor of Vermillion County, and also the current president of the Economic Development Commission. Now, Tim, these are IC state statutes that we're talking about here, not Vermillion County rules that you guys go by the end of December. It plainly states in the statute that my position does not end until January the 31st, and at that time can be reappointed. It has to be done within 10 days. Now, you guys took it upon yourself to go and appoint somebody, already had them sworn in, which isn't even fair, it doesn't even count, or it doesn't make any difference if it did, because it has to be done within 10 days of the appointment. Well, the appointment's not even up. I mean, this appointment, these are not Vermillion County laws, these are state statute laws. I don't change them, I don't make them up. Okay?
I'd have to see that.
Well, I can go right in here and get you the paperwork.
I will
if you-
refer to legal advice.
If you need it, and I know John Spur has already read it. So I don't really understand what your problem is. I really don't.
The problem is I want
Well, I
clarification.
do, yeah, and did I not try to send you guys clarification? Did he not try to send you clarification before you appointed this person? But you went ahead and done it anyhow, even though it wasn't right.
All ours usually end of year. That's been standard all the time.
Well, and that's fine for county, but this is a state statute, okay? You can't change that, and neither can I.
Right.
I mean, the law's the law.
I agree with, that's why I want clarification.
Well, it says a term of 4 years, so when
It's,
did you assume your office, do you remember?
Isn't-
I can't, all
It's,
the years of.
you want me to give you the code?
I'll look at the code. It
No,
says-
I'll just bring it to you.
It just
You
says
want
you
me to-
serve for
I'm
4
saying from-
years.
Right, but it also states in there that my service isn't done until January 31st. That's the end of the term.
You were appointed at the minimum in January because the previous Board of Commissioners waylaid all appointments until January of 2021.
The way the state statute is set up, you have to assume the office in February, is the way it's set up. And if you guys don't even appoint anybody, it's not even up to me. I can't even go anywhere or do anything. I have to stay with this by law until someone is appointed. If they're not, I have to stay with it.
Yeah, term runs from February 1st.
Yeah.
So it'd be 4 years from February 1st of your appointment.
Right.
So my question is, since it was appointed in December, can you preemptively make an appointment like that when it's not up by state code, or can we say we find that appointment was not made correctly?
Well, there's also a part in it that says it has to be, once the appointment has been done and you have 10 days to be sworn in to take the seat. Well, your person's already been sworn in, that 10 days done come and gone, and the appointment's not even here.
well, we got no problem now,
What's that?
since you got elected as auditor.
Yeah.
I think that there's no way that you can serve in that without being a conflict.
Tim, people previously, Randy Dreer, Ashley James, have served on that Economic Development Commission, and they were both elected officials as well.
Yes.
So unless you're saying there's discrimination from office holders, there can't be.
No, I'm asking a question.
I'm
which
just
I
saying.
deserve an answer.
You-
That's
you
not
can-
like a question.
But I checked the dual office holders guide on that, and I
Okay.
don't think.
Get back with us on that.
Economic
Go
Development
ahead.
member has a salary that goes with it, does it?
No.
So I don't think it meets the definition of a lucrative office, which is what
So-
creates the prohibition of
Yeah.
dual office.
So
holders.
any elected office holder in Vermillion County could serve on the commission.
Yes, but I would check the guide
Yeah,
each
for sure,
time
yeah.
because there are different definitions
for
under
different
case
ones, yeah.
law.
Absolutely.
But I think I already checked the guide on that one in
Yeah.
the past, and
So since
commission is not
since it's not up till the 1st, and it was already made the appointment, and then they've got to be in the seat within 10 days, I don't believe the appointment was made in correct terms of the law. So could we vacate that appointment then? Or can we just say it's not being honored because it wasn't done correctly?
you would just make that finding and put it to a vote, and then if the person who was previously appointed feels like that is not correct, they
Then they
can go
can-
upstairs and ask the judge to review the
review
decision and say whether or not that was
Okay.
legally done.
Sure. Commissioners, any comments on the possibility of an appointment that was made in December when the IC code specifically states that that appointment is not up until February the 1st, and once that person is sworn in, they have 10 days to assume the office, which means...
There is a part here, and I think I was looking for what you're talking about. It says, at the expiration of the respective terms of each of the original economic, that's original, so no.
So, regardless of that, this person was appointed, got sworn in, they were supposed to take the office in 10 days, which they cannot because the current appointment is not up till February, so I believe there is finding to say that this appointment was done inaccurately and not according to law. Is there any opinion or debate on the matter before the board?
The position will become open again, so you're saying in February for appointment, right?
Yes, that's the way the code reads. It'd be February 1st. And at that point, the commissioners could reconsider a new appointment for that position. Any comments from either commissioner then?
I mean, if he held the office, in my opinion, if you hold the office, you serve until your time is up, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's the way I feel that it would be if anyone else in this room were to hold that office, we would expect that that would be upheld if that's the law.
Yeah.
And that's fair also. That's the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Okay. I agree with that, Tim. Any comments on it?
The law says.
Okay, well, with that being said, at the auditor's office, Misty, if someone would notify the appointment that the Board of Commissioners have found an opinion that the appointment was done incorrectly, not according to law, and they are not serving on the Economic Development Commission as of today, and that appointment will come up for reappointment on February the 1st, and if they are interested, to email the Board of Commissioners or the auditor's office. All right, we'll move on then if there's nothing else for EDC. Vermillion Rise. Well, hold on, before we move on to Vermillion Rise, that was part of EDC. The statement that I had made about the economic development, I would like to follow up a little bit on that with the rest of the board. Is there any opinion on that about leaving it currently how it is as the coalition with no director, a rapid turnover within a year and a half, and my recommendation of moving it back to the commission? Is there any comments, opinions before the board?
You're still in EDC. I didn't hear what you said again. Your last statement.
My recommendation that I put before the board, Tim, that how economic development was changed over the last several years, and now how it is a coalition, a department of the commissioners, and how we've had a rapid turnover of 3 employees. We have no vision for economic development. We have no leader, and the commissioners, in my opinion, cannot oversee economic development. We can't do it well. I would like to see it put back to the Economic Development Commission. I would like the commission to see the entire budget. I'd like to delegate our entire authority back to the commission. Let them hire a director, a secretary, a staff. I don't want to micromanage economic development. This was back when, even when Dylan Riggin was there. You know, he was a director, he ran that. Dylan had started the, I must say the small business grant program, but it's called something else. And it's phenomenal. There was businesses like Jerry's Restaurant, Thompson's T-Shirts, multiple here in the county that benefited tremendously from that. But ever since we went to this coalition, 0 loans have been given out to Vermillion County small businesses. And we should be helping our small businesses. And instead, we create a coalition. We let people walk, directors, secretaries, good employees of the county, and we don't do anything about it. We argue and we talk about, well, maybe we'll do a private adventure. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do that. Well, I think it's time to quit talking, and I think it's time to lead by action. And I think action is sending this back to the commission. We had members like Buddy White that if you call him and talk to him, he's very disappointed in how economic development is going in Vermillion County. And this is a gentleman that helped build Vermillion County literally and figuratively with bridges, roads, construction. He employed hundreds of people in this county. And he's embarrassed to see how economic development is operating currently in this county. So I think it is apparent that we fix this sooner than later. And leaving it as a coalition, I think, is setting Vermillion County up for failure. I think sending it back to a board of 3 commission members that is appointed by one of the commissioners, one of the largest cities, which is the city of Clinton, and one of the county council. So yeah, there was my speech to the commissioners, and I would open it up for more dialogue and more opinions.
I guess I would say that, like, to me, micromanaging anyone is not, it doesn't produce creativity, it doesn't produce good outcomes usually. If I've ever been put under a thumb, I don't do well. So I think that having a micromanagement in place right now, I believe that obviously there's nothing happening. So what we were doing, I know that there were things happening. So the other thing I believe is we hire good people. We hire them to run a department, and micromanaging them is unacceptable in my opinion. I don't like to be micromanaged. I don't want to be micromanaged. And so that's the way I feel about the EDC.
Okay. Tim, any comments?
Yeah, I want to say one thing. Over the years, economic development is something that's been looked at as far as how it's produced. Again, it has not produced large amounts of change that I think that we expected. Talking about micromanagement, I know when one of the former heads of our economic development worked there, he was being micromanaged, and it was not a good thing. So that's why we changed it, because we wanted the economic director to have free will to make their own decisions. I agree with the micromanagement don't work. And then when we did that, we thought we was giving the economic director freedom to go and produce. And I still agree that, and micromanagement of them I don't think is right. And we gave them the freedom, both previous economic development directors, freedom to make their own schedules, to have time to work on their own. This last one, he's referring to a letter, and I think he's trying to refer to me about a negative thing. But our last director, we was working with her, and we paid her up on her salary for the whole year, and I was told that she was going to quit on a Friday, and she didn't give us no notice, and she quit. So I don't know what to say about that. I think that any department we have ought to be driven by results, and I think if you talk to other members of the community, it hasn't produced that. And if there's a combination to make it work, I'm all for it. But in the past, it hasn't produced, like, in my opinion, and from a financial standpoint, like it should.
Okay. With that, would the commissioners be in favor or opposed to delegating the authority of economic development back to the 3-member commission instead of the coalition currently? We can say we gave them a free rein to run, Tim, but what I think we've done is, well, I mean, results speak for themselves. When you have 3 employees quit and you have these letters wrote to you that we really don't want to read publicly because it won't shine a good light on our county if we read all these resignation letters publicly, I think they still were being micromanaged by members of the commissioners. So
No,
anyway,
it wasn't. Absolutely not.
okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. We won't bring all those emails to light that was sent by former commissioners to EDC people.
If you're trying to make up an issue, then
There's no making up issues, Tim. We're trying to move on. I'm trying to elevate and move Vermillion County forward. So let's not dwell in the past and how things were done. Okay.
No, you was dwelling in the past. That's exactly what he's doing, RJ.
Well,
Move
Tim,
on.
when you make a promise to somebody and have some integrity, and you tell someone you're going to make them a director, you should.
And your voice was included. We told her we would eventually, and
No,
you could have
in
said
the-
something
in
about it.
the-
You didn't.
I did,
No,
Tim.
you didn't. You could have
In the
brought it up. We
meeting-
would have passed it.
No, you said you would do it, and you didn't. And that's what
Yeah, I
that's what
disagree.
she said in her letter.
You was
Anyway,
part,
I
you
would
was
like
part
to
of every
do-
bit of that, RJ.
I would like to
Yeah, you
delegate
was.
the authority back to the County Economic Development Commission. Is there anybody in favor of doing that? And if so, I would like to ask John how we go about doing that.
You would go back to the ordinance that you did in 2023. I've got the draft, but I
Is it the
want to
county?
get the final form.
Is it the County Resolution 2023-5?
I just have that's a recurring problem. All I have is my rough draft, and then
Yeah.
once I send it to you guys, I don't know if it got changed
So this
after that.
Yeah, this resolution I had before me.
I just know the draft was done in 2023.
Yeah,
so.
the one I have in here was passed in 2023. It was County Resolution 2023-5. It was passed by unanimously by the County Council and 2-1 by the Board of Commissioners, with me voting against. So if we were to do that, that resolution would have to be opted out on. Would
And
that-
it's titled the Joint Ordinance Creating the Vermillion County Development Authority. That
They,
one?
they changed the ordinance to resolution, but yeah, yep. Okay.
You just repeal or change that, however you guys wanted to repeal or change it.
Does
Okay.
the council have any input on this?
They originally did. I think they adopted a mirror version of the ordinance.
And the council funds that, correct?
Yeah.
So is their option there with the council, what they want to do, or fund it or not?
They could leave it in place if they wanted to, but if you guys don't want to run a development authority, then it would just sit there.
Well, and for them to repeal anything, you would lose the edit tax funding as well, because that's the economic development edit tax. So I'll put it back before the Board of Commissioners. Is there any support or non-support for delegating our authority from the coalition back to the Economic Development Commission that was working on helping small towns with water projects, housing development, internet, small business loans in particularly. I've gotten multiple phone calls over the last year and a half that people cannot fund their small business. That jerky place in Clinton, I think, helped fund their startup. I mean, it was phenomenal what they were doing, and I would love to see that started back up. So I'll leave that to the board if there's any support moving forward with delegating the authority back to the Economic Development Commission.
I think if you're asking me to vote for this, I have a few questions. So if we were to go back to the way that it was, then the current people that we have managing the EDC or the economic development, like the corridor, is that a contract that we have, and how does that work?
Yeah, so that contract was passed in December, not to exceed amount of, I'm going to paraphrase here, $22,000. And that contract, I believe, without looking at it right in front of me, can be terminated at any time. But I believe if we delegate this authority back to the commission, they will probably work with that agency because they're a good company to work with. Now, I don't think they're going to be doing as much as they're doing now because that's all we have at economic development. We have no secretary, we have no director, we have nothing. So I think it's imperative that we do this sooner than later.
So then that would be, we could terminate that contract.
We could, yeah. As soon as, I mean, working with the commission, because it's not that we're not going to work with the Economic Development Commission. They're going to say, hey, we're doing this, we no longer need them, or we just say, hey, the commission can work with you guys now on this contract, we can terminate it and they can end up doing another one with them for services rendered, or if they need them for certain particulars in that I-74 corridor project.
In other words, put this back in control of your dad and the other two.
Well, if we're going to name them, it would be, yes, let's just name them all, Tim, not just one. Ron Donovan, Bill Reynolds, and Randy Dreer, which I believe are three good individuals. Bill Reynolds even messaged me the other day about some issues up on the I-74 area. Randy Dreer has been involved in government, small business owner. Again, this board has operated well. The only one that was missing was Buddy White when he had stepped away, and the county lost a lot when he stepped away from that board. But I do think Buddy even is still in contact with EDC members asking if it ever got put back together, because he's very intrigued and invested in Vermillion County to see us prosper.
I would say if it worked, then we would put it back the way that it was, if we're not producing now.
Well, we can show the results we're not producing. John, so with that being said, would we leave the resolution in place and delegate our authority, or would we repeal or opt
The
out?
simplest thing would just be to repeal that ordinance.
Okay. Well, it's resolution, but yeah.
Resolution.
Okay. All right. Well, Misty, if you're in favor of that, I will make a motion to repeal County Resolution 2023-5 by title, Joint Resolution Creating the Vermillion County Economic Development Coalition. And by doing so, the commissioners are delegating all economic development authority back to the three-member Economic Development Commission. Do I have a second on the motion?
I second the motion.
Second by Misty Hess. Any discussion?
I think anything like this needs to be looked at. It's all about results. And if we fund something that does not produce results, we shouldn't be funding it. And I'm willing to give it 6 months. And the only way I would agree to this, and it needs to become evaluation orientated. If it don't produce, I know the council will look at it and eventually if it's producing or not. And in the past, it hasn't produced.
When you're saying hasn't produced, Tim, are we calling all the small business investments that help businesses grow not producing?
I'm not saying, I'm saying.
Well, you're saying it's not producing.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Can you clarify that?
According to what we expect. And I think that many times when we hire someone in economic development, it's 90% of the time it's measured by jobs and how much income it puts in jobs. The other things are important too, but the number one thing should be always in economic development is bringing jobs and economic development into the county.
Well, I think the biggest thing that this county has failed on, Tim, and you might have hit it on the head, is we lack a vision in the county by the Board of Commissioners. And I think moving forward, this Board of Commissioners is going to set out a clear vision for the county. And I think when we do that, your opinion may be measured by jobs, but I think the Board of Commissioners need to measure what that is. And if we believe it's jobs, we'll say it's jobs. If we believe it's small business growth, it's small business growth. I think the commissioners need to set out a vision, a clear vision, because only then will we succeed as a county. Not going 25 different directions and not fighting each other left, right, and middle. Anyway, if there's any other discussion, if not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Stay.
Motion carries. Alrighty. Next, for a little bit of discussion, is Vermillion Rise. I want to thank a few of the Rise board members for being here. I think we got 3 of them in attendance tonight. Thank you for coming. Nothing major with the Rise, other than this is going to go back to a vision thing, and I welcome both commissioners to add their 2 cents and opinion here at the end of this. But I've got a little thing I'd like to say, just in general, to the community. This is one of our county's biggest resources, is the Vermillion Rise Mega Park. 7,000 acres out there, and it has been in the county's possession for years. And other than a spec building, and we have 2 or 3 small businesses out there, which are great, but it is mainly an untapped resource for the county. And again, if we don't set a vision for our boards and our counties, we fail. We set everybody up to fail. Several years ago, when I was a council member, I watched the Rise board work diligently to bring a hog confinement farm out there. They went to the APC. There was a recommendation made by the APC, and it came before a former board of commissioners here, and it was hostile. I don't know if Tommy might have been on the board at the time. It wasn't a good place to be in here, you know, and the commissioners eventually, I think, voted that down 2-1 or 3-0. But if a vision had been set out that said, we don't want hog confinement operations, you guys wouldn't have wasted your time. But instead, you guys had done all your hard work, your leg work, and then you were set up to fail from the beginning. And we don't want that anymore. We want to set out a clear vision and gives you guys guidance and gives every board guidance on what we want, you know, and what we envision things going towards. Tonight, I'd like to challenge my fellow commissioners to come up with ideas in the next 30 days, not only for the Rise, but for anything in this county. Let's work together with ideas, bring them back to the Board of Commissioners. Let's discuss them as a whole entity, and then we can vote and decide on what we believe is the best vision and best step forward for Vermillion County. I'll share a few things, just my ideas, and I've shared these a little bit with Dave Marietta, and I apologize we haven't sat down and talked about some public hunting, because that's a huge idea that I would like to pursue out there. We have more hunters than I can count. I know Jeff can probably attest to that too in Vermillion County. A lot of people want to get out there and hunt. And I think there's a way to get public hunting out there. We're not going to, I don't think there's a way to open it up for 1,000 people at once, but I think there is a way, like the mushroom hunt, to open it up for public hunting in Vermillion County and let our youth, our young people that have nowhere to go, to get out there and get a chance to hunt these animals that are more or less domesticated out there. You know, they're stuck in the gate. It is poised for housing. You know, we have water, sewage, we have gas, we have everything out at the Rise. I think there is so much potential out there. You know, there was ideas on the prior board about building a lake, you know, an oversized pond out there, having cabins, being a recreational destination between 2 casinos. You know, let's add something of value when people are traveling to Terre Haute, to Lafayette. Let's be a destination for somebody, you know. But I do challenge my fellow commissioners in the next 30 days to come up with some ideas, some visions that we can come up with, that we can act on, and then we can meet with the Rise board and say, hey, what do we think about this? You know, I look forward to mainly elevating Vermillion County. That's what I'd like to see every board and everybody do in this county is let's elevate this county to the next level. That's all I have on the Rise. I'll open that up if Misty or Tim have any other comments they would like to add.
I do want to address one thing. I think that over the years of time, the Rise Board has been good. I respect them tremendously, and everybody that serves on boards. I think the thing that we fail to realize is these people that serve on boards, they're not lucrative, make a lot of money. They donate their time, and I respect what they do. We have had problems in the past with the Rise Board as far as communication-wise. I've talked to them, and what I recommend commissioner, there's need to be one person from the commissioners that are assigned to communicate with the Rise Board. In the past, I know that RJ made a mention of going firing them all, and I don't think that's appropriate. I think it's disrespectful. There's a process of dealing with these people on these boards, and saying something like that is very disrespectful. And then when a commissioner goes to somewhere and orders people, I have a problem with that. We have no power alone. We have power when we're together. And I think to help the Rise Board work better, I think that there needs to be one commissioner assigned to the Rise Board to the communication. Any decision we make will be made by the majority of the commissioners, not by one commissioner. And I think this really creates a problem with the Rise Board. And I've talked to them, and I think that's something they'd recommend, I believe.
So Tim, would you like to clarify ordering somebody to do something? Would you like to clarify what that is?
There needs to be someone on our board that is the one that communicates with the Rise Board.
Yeah, Tim, do you not forget the last 4 years that the commissioners, the commissioner president was the one delegated all of that? Did you forget that?
That's right. We didn't have the problem before. We didn't have the problem until you went over and told me he was going to fire all of them.
I never went to a meeting and said that. I said
You
that.
did say that.
Tim, let me speak. Let me speak. Any Rise Board member can attest to that I did send an email to the board, and I did say, if I did not get these documents, and if you did not support some of these ideas, that I would make it a point to replace each and every board member.
You don't have authority.
Tim?
You don't have it.
And I said, if another commissioner supported me. Okay? So, if you're going to speak, give the whole context. Don't just give a hot take, okay? All right, all right. Thank you. Furthermore, in this email, I had asked repeatedly times for documentation from the Rise. Repeated information that took months to get from their land manager. Things to get such as hunting land, what do you want to call it? Parcels, everything was kind of a secret that it took to get out of these people. And not the board, but the manager themselves. There's 22 hunt areas. I was told it was, generating $200,000 by people outside of the Rise. And after review of that, that's not true. It was right under $100,000. And then when they say, people in the public say, RJ, we can't bid on these 22 parcels. You want to know why you can't bid on them? Because it's a private email chain. That's why. And that's something that needs looked at. If you're going to bid something, you can't bid something on a private email. So Tim, you're right. I was frustrated, and I did say that. And any of those board members out there can probably attest to that. I wrote that in an email, and I stand by any word that I say in an email. I absolutely do. Something called integrity. When I say something, I mean it. And I mean it wholeheartedly. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Misty, do you have any comments on the Rise?
Any comments on this?
Jeff, you got anything else on Vermillion Rise? I was going to go to public comment, Jeff, so we can let you come up there. Anybody else have anything on Vermillion Rise?
I just want to say that we get back to micromanaging. I think that each department has done pretty good. I think that when we get to the place where we try to control a board, I think we've overstepped our boundaries. As I said before, I think that these are all public servants that donate their time and give their time, and when we fail to respect it, I think it's very disrespectful to the board.
It's a good comment, Tim. I hope you remember that. We're going to move on to public comment. If we have any public comment, please come to the podium, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. Give or take, unless we gather you out of here, Jeff. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeff Mahalik, resident and Rise Board president. First, I guess, let's just say water under the bridge. No matter what happened in the past.
Let's move forward. Let's
talk about vision.
Let's elevate the county.
Elevate the county. So, we all need to do a better job of just communicating with each other, working together. I'm very accessible. Tom's very accessible. Dave's very accessible. Let's do a better job, all of us,
Absolutely.
to communicate together. You talked about the youth hunt. We do have a youth hunt going on next year. I don't know if you know that or not. A bunch of our current renters and tenants have volunteered to put up their land, cover the insurance, get a bunch of those kids out there.
Awesome.
Great idea.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's build on that even more.
Absolutely.
Let's
So
build on
you
it.
asked about, opening up the bid process more. Absolutely, we agree with that.
Let's do it.
So, just, the rumor mill.
It's
it's terrible.
and communication's great. And I think being the board president, I think keeping us in the loop and keeping all three commissioners in the loop is a big thing. But I think starting with us though, getting that vision set and coming to you guys so we don't have an incident like 6 years ago where you guys do all the hard work and then you come to us and we say we don't want that out there.
Another thing, just with the board, economic development is very important for the Rise.
Yeah.
We lost Doug, then we lost another person.
Yeah.
They were instrumental. They got us way farther in some of those deals than what we could by ourselves. We're not day-to-day staff.
Yeah, well,
we're board members.
And they're getting paid, and you guys are not.
Correct.
So and to piggyback on that, at one time, there was going to be a director for both the Rise and economic development.
We offered to split that.
Yeah,
cost.
the Rise had done
Absolutely.
that, and if you dig back even more, a former company out of Terre Haute, RGL Solutions, had made that recommendation like 15 years ago. That said that would be the one thing they would do was have a director that overseen both. That way they could help coordinate everything.
Absolutely.
Because it is tough on you five board. Well, there's three here, but five of you are out there.
Correct.
It's tough on you guys being non-paid to catch everything that goes through the cracks.
And we're not there to make day-to-day decisions.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to make sure that everybody knows who the employees are who are out there, and they do a fantastic job. Cindy Wilson, Cindy, all hours of night, she keeps us organized. They're fantastic people. Chad out there, Chad's part-time, but he works like a full-time guy. Jim, Jeff, and Bob, they spend their own money, they bring their own equipment. They take a lot of, they love the Rise, they take pride in it.
Yeah.
So, whatever happens down the road, I just want people to know that there are people out there that care about this county, that work hard, that are looking, the Rise is 7,000 acres. We really have 3 people taking care of 7,000 acres.
What's Chad's last name?
Harris.
And Jim?
Hale. Hall. And then Kelsheimer,
And Bob.
Mathis. Yeah,
It's actually 7,200 acres in it.
give or take. Yes.
I'm just thinking.
So, and just kind of being here tonight, we should have a ceremony. We should be working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited for Misty. I've known Misty a long time. Hope she brings some motherly love.
So I hope I
rooting
can.
for you.
Now, Jeff,
I
there are some stuff out there. I would like to say thanks to the Rise for. I know in the past you guys have had an abundance of filing cabinets, shelving units that stuff are basically not being used out there. And I know even the counties here locally, Vermillion County, there's been times that you guys have
If you
lended
ask
us.
if we got it. If
That's
we're
what
not using it, we're donating.
Yeah, that's
Go
what I
get it.
mean. I was going to say there's a lot of departments that are, whether they need chairs, instead of us going out and buying stuff, I know I don't know how well it is in building 7,700 anymore, but there is a lot of stuff out there. So
There's still some stuff. Tell us what you need.
well, I don't necessarily know, but if any, would it be appropriate to say if any county extension office would need chairs or filing cabinets, would they reach out to you or any board member? Would that
Any board member. Any board member. So
Any board member?
Yeah.
Okay.
And any board member will be happy to get it.
And hopefully a lot of people are watching tonight and they can say, hey,
Hopefully.
reach out to them because
Correct.
instead of going out and spending $100, if the Rise has something we could use or the health department could use for chairs, filing cabinets, desks,
Absolutely.
we'd love to have it.
Yeah. So, we on the Rise board believe Rise Up is what is kind of how I would approach it. We got to get to that point.
Absolutely.
Having a clear vision. We've talked about this. Tom has been talking about this from day one. We need a plan. And then we need a director. That's the next step, And if it's somebody in economic development or works in that office,
Well-
that's another great option for us because we don't have an office right now. We need a place for that
To go.
director to sit.
Well, I would,
If it's in economic development, they're going to work hand in hand.
Yeah.
Let's try to make that happen.
Yeah, I would encourage you, since tonight we have delegated all authority back to the commission, to reach out to the commission members as they probably will most likely advertise for a director and a secretary that maybe you guys can be a part of that discussion with them.
If I could make one more suggestion, there was a.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Ron Dunlin, Vermillion County Auditor, also Economic Development Commission President. As president, we will be holding a meeting on the 15th of this month.
Okay.
And I would like to invite all your crew to our meeting, and we can discuss this and go over this about bringing back the agreement that I had at one time in front of the council with the Rise over using the Vermillion County Economic Development Director, and he would oversee the Rise also. We had an agreement in place, the council agreed to it, they backed out of it, they threw us to the wolves, they formed a coalition, and then everything's history, but let's put that behind us.
Yeah, let's
All right?
move to the 15th.
I'll look forward to working with you, and we need to get a director, you're right.
The other thing, and that's what I was going to say, is there was a time we all met here, it was commissioners, Rise, county council. That was a great meeting.
Yep.
You know, I would suggest quarterly, maybe trying to have that, to get us all together on the same page.
Absolutely.
You know, because lots of ideas can come from that. And
Yeah.
it may not be an idea that works today, but it works tomorrow.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Okay.
Because it helped you guys out financially, it helped the county out financially, everybody.
Thank you for my time.
Thank you, Jeff. Anybody else public comment? Yep.
Yeah, Neil Costello, County Council. When you get the plan for the Rise, you give it to me because I've never even seen one. So that's kind of one of the most important things. I mean, I hear the word council going back and forth, you know, and that's a lot of to do with the funding, but I've never seen a clear plan for it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And Neil,
when you get it, let me know.
yeah, and you've served, Neil, how many years now? 8, 10?
2 terms, with the
Yeah.
exception of the last year, my first term, because I moved.
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say, I served
but,
in the beginning, and
I'm in the middle of my second term. Do what?
Yeah, I remember when we served together first in the county council, and I'm with you. There was never a plan given to
Well, there's
us.
been a lot of questions in the past about it. What's it for? Do
Yeah.
you need the entire space?
Yeah.
What's the goal?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
factories, hunting.
Well, and
I
I
hear a
think-
lot of different things.
Yeah, and I think that's where that vision comes into mind. And I think working together as a board president and multiple other board presidents, maybe we'll have maybe it's a once a month email or meeting with board presidents to keep everybody up to date with what's going on. That way, no one's caught off guard in public, no one's caught off guard
Yeah.
anywhere.
I definitely want to be in the loop on it.
Hey, absolutely, I completely agree. I think that's where we move forward to elevate this county to the next level.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Neil. Any other public comment tonight? Ron? Ron, looks like you got a big binder. I don't know.
No, this is for you guys.
Okay.
Ron Mack, County Surveyor. I guess everybody here knows that we talked a lot about micromanagement over the last 4 years, and I think I've been a victim, real bad. So this is a synopsis of all the laws that I have to follow. And, you know, one of the things you talked about, so I got a copy for every one of you. But, you know, like what you talked about,
Thank you.
the building blocks and getting on the same page. And last year I had a proposal from an engineering firm to consolidate all our water management plans into one, and that got run over by other people. Since then, I've found in those statutes where I do have the complete and total authority to do that, so I'll be revisiting that in 2025.
Good.
We vacated 4 drains, or we'll vacate 2 more, hopefully by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Cleaning up all those 40 or 50 years of mismanagement, so.
Yeah. Well, Ron, and on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, we appreciate everything you've done as a surveyor. And the Drainage Board is another board that's pretty much, well, you don't really want to serve on. You go to a meeting and then landowners come and yell at you and, you know, they don't know what their assessment is. But I think working together, even with you on this I-74 project, economic development, looping everybody into where an agency isn't left out at the last minute. Let's be proactive, not reactive in Vermillion County. Let's address things before they become an issue, and let's work together. And I think if that's anything, let's leave this meeting tonight that we're going to elevate this county to new heights, and we're going to establish a clear vision for Vermillion County.
Anyway, that's the rules I live
All
by.
right, thank you, Ron.
Can I speak?
Tim?
I would like to have a executive meeting or special meeting with the council in regard to the North Vermillion School new ambulance facility.
Well, I
The
guess.
council do want that, right? The council.
Tim, I think, point of order, before we go any farther with a possible executive meeting with that, Misty, I'm going to not throw you under the bus here, but you are late to the party a little bit on this ambulance deal. There's a lot of information being disseminated. The last several months, I've been opposed to building this potential $700,000-800,000 facility. I'd proposed some different alternatives to go with. And I'm sure you haven't had time to even digest all the possible ambulance things. And I don't know if it's fair to Misty to have an executive meeting quite yet, just because, well, I'll let you speak on it, but I don't know if you're quite ready to even digest or go in to say, hey, I'm pro North Vermillion ambulance side, I'm against that, I'm for this, and I'll let you speak on that. But
Well, I think that I need a little bit of information on the ambulance, but I think I've met with a lot of people and heard a lot of different ideas and what people want, what they don't want. So I'd like to dive in and learn it on my own instead of listening to what everybody else has to say. So then I can read all of the things. So if you have opinions and Tim has opinions, I think I know a little bit of both. But if I could also get all of the other information that we've been provided, then I could dive into that, and then I can formulate my own opinion on that.
So with that, I would encourage, whether it's Mark O'Hare from the ambulance committee or anybody that's got ambulance documents, ideas, forward them to Misty Hess. I've got mine. I will send her as well. Tim has his. He can send her. That way, when we do have this executive meeting, we can talk about ideas. And then when we have an actual regular meeting, we can discuss what's best and vote on what's best for Vermillion County instead of rushing down a plan. So
I would like to say something in that. This has been going on for quite a while. I'll let these two men here can fill you in on it more than I can.
My name is Rick Weir. I'm on the ambulance committee. We've been working on this project for 3 years, and we basically no longer have a Vermillion County ambulance service other than we're co-working with Park County. We've made promises to them. We've spent money. And Misty, this meeting would be to inform you of what's going on, not to make any decisions. You need information. You need information now. We're willing to provide it. I've asked the commissioners, hopefully the exec team, everyone that's needed, and it could be a public meeting, to share the information with you and provide you information. So I think Mark O'Hare is also asking, are we going to have one or not? Sooner the better.
Well, can anybody disseminate this information to her in writing? I mean, I think her being able to review stuff,
She needs to be able to ask questions.
I understand.
We need to be able to give her the information.
I understand, Rick, but if there's information that can be disseminated by email, why don't the council or the ambulance committee disseminate that information to Misty via email, and then she can ask those questions and review stuff in that executive meeting? Is there anything that can be disseminated by email?
There is a ton of information, but not by email.
Well, I know there's several that Mark O'Hare has by email.
What information is needed?
Information is worthwhile.
What's the questions as far as, I'm Neil Costello, I'm on the ambulance committee. County,
Yeah.
I have to state that for the record. I live in Fairview Park, etc. What are the questions? So what's the issue? I heard $700,000 for the building. I don't know anyone's ever agreed to that.
Well,
in fact, I don't think we've never even got a price on it.
Yeah, Neil.
So how would we know what
Yeah,
it
I think
costs?
my arguments and side of this has been from the beginning is if our goal is to provide the best ambulance coverage for Vermillion County, the best coverage, then we should be looking at that third ambulance. We shouldn't be looking at two stations.
Why not 4?
Well, maybe 4, but
Or
I will
5.
say,
I mean,
Neil, you know what let me just say that if we're looking at the best possible thing, you can ask Mark O'Hare, you can ask former director Eric Shaughnessy, you can ask anybody. The response times, if you have 3 ambulances, and even when he had 3, they were around 10 to 11 minutes for every citizen in the county, and that's what you want. We cannot attain that currently with 2 ambulances. It's not possible. It's not possible north and south. So if the county's looking at building one, why would we build at North Vermillion, Fairview, or wherever? I mean, why, just for point of question, why would we do that when we have 2 agreements with fire departments at $1,500?
Can I make a statement?
Well, can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The thing we're saying is we need the executive.
I
We don't need
understand,
to know.
I understand, Rick, but the
We're-
public wants to know, so we're gonna say the whole thing. We're not gonna just cut off at half. We're gonna
I'll go ahead
finish.
and sit down.
Okay.
I'm not.
So, and anyway, if we're going to look at that, why not look at the broad picture? If the picture is, let's spend $100,000 on engineering plans and then potentially put it out for bid, and the engineering plans are estimating $700,000, $800,000 for a build, and then if we do put it out for bid and it comes back at, say it comes back at $500,000, I've heard the council members say they won't fund anything more than $300,000 to $400,000. I understand that. But why would we not invest in another ambulance, look at a county-owned service, because right now it's costing the county more money with Park County. And I appreciate Julie Lanzone and the whole Park County team for stepping in when we had a horrible situation in Vermillion County. They are lifesavers to us. But if we invest in a third ambulance, the county wins. Vermillion County wins. Because now with that third ambulance, everyone is getting covered within 10 to 11 minutes of response time. And we have multiple options. I've spoke to Help Fire, Mr. Peebles, and he says he has a building at Hillsdale. You know, we have a possibility with the or the Joanne Wilson Learning Center. There's multiple buildings around the 36 area that could hold an ambulance right there. And if our goal is to provide the best coverage for Vermillion County, why would we just build one new station when we could take that money, put it somewhere else, and now we have 3 ambulances? I mean, that's been my side of the coin the entire time.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Here, then what do you do?
Kelly, if you want to come up, you got to come up here and talk.
Okay, let me ask a question. Earlier you said that the Rise was set up with the farm or whatever because they went and did 3 years worth of work and a bunch of work, and then the commissioners shut them down. Why did commissioners have the ambulance service do 3 years worth of work and then turn around and say, well, we need to relook at everything again because we have done 3 years worth of work? The commissioners were always invited to these meetings. Only now are we getting this input.
Neil, the problem...
We have looked at 3 stations. I'm speaking, RJ.
Okay, but...
I'm speaking.
Okay.
We have looked at 3 stations. We've looked at multiple stations, firehouses, locations, used buildings, new buildings. This isn't a new issue. This building's been going on for decades. And the commission, or the board that the commissioners put together said, please look at this, which included Mark O'Hara, myself, Rick Weir, Brent Lewis with the fire department, Helt Township trustee, Eric Shaughnessy was on this. I mean, we've been working pretty hard on this. We come up with what we think is a great idea. After we considered everything, we've spent over $100,000 on plans, and we don't even know what the price of the building yet because commissioners haven't bid anything. So to start over, it just seems like a slap in the face to me when I've spent all this time doing this. I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
Well, Neil,
is it not?
Well, Neil, I don't think it's a slap in the face. One, I was a minority of the commissioners for the last 4 years, so you were under the direction of 2 commissioners that had the majority.
They never told us what to do, but
I'm saying they were the majority. They chose to go down this path, and every time they did, I objected to it. So this is nothing new for me. Okay, so if you watch any commissioners meetings over the past 4 years, you would see that my stance has not changed. And now you have a new commissioner that, bless her heart, she doesn't know all this stuff because she is new. This has been going on for several years. And to ask her to make a decision,
I didn't ask her.
Well, we're asking for an executive meeting so we can hand her all this information. Well, that's great, but we still need to look at the bigger picture. I mean, I don't think we should have spent $100,000 on plans already, but we did. For drawing. And you're right. If we end up going a different path, I would say the county wasted some funds on that. That's what I would say.
We can't bid out. I mean, we can't build a brand new public building without any kind of direction with blueprints of any sort.
I understand.
I mean, and by same token, the ambulance committee had nothing to do with that. That was a decision that the commissioners made.
I understand.
Okay.
And now the new board of commissioners.
And that's perfectly fine. But I'm saying that when everything's going to get changed, it just makes all the work that the ambulance committee almost useless. If she doesn't even have that information.
Well, no one's discounting the work that the ambulance committee's done. We have asked multiple times for that information to be disseminated to Commissioner Hess so she can review all that. She has been talking to people in the public. She's heard a lot of ideas, and she's wrapping her head around all those.
All right, fine.
So
I look forward to the meeting then.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, Misty, would you feel
Do you have a
comfortable?
question for me? Can I sit down, or do you need me to stay here, or you need? Okay.
You're fine. I just need to give an update.
So on this meeting, Misty, would you feel comfortable having any meeting soon, or would you like 30 to 45 days to gather information? What would you feel comfortable
In the
with?
meeting, you're just going to share information with me, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be public? I mean, because the public.
No, we're not making any decision.
Yeah.
We're just getting together.
Would you prefer it to be? I'm not open to having a joint open public meeting, or would you like it to be executive? I mean, executive, you can review information, but if it's public, we can invite. There can be multiple people here. Since we're just going to share information, do you have a preference? No?
They asked for an executive meeting. Is that what they asked for?
Yeah, an executive meeting is private
Yeah.
where the public cannot attend, but we also can just have a joint public meeting as well, and it can just be a work session where we can receive information and no decisions can be made in public as well, so we can do it either way. I would prefer a joint public meeting myself, because all we're doing is sharing information, and who knows, maybe someone in the public has some good information for us.
That's fine with me.
Okay, so is there any, well, I guess,
I need another comment.
okay, well, what we'll do is, Ashley James, I assume, is still the council president, is that right?
As
No?
of right now, as far as I know.
Okay, we will email the council president, Misty, if you don't mind, get an email. I'll put you on an email chain, and we will coordinate. That way we can try to get all 10 members in attendance for this joint public meeting. That way members of the Rise, Economic Development, fire chiefs, members of the public can attend. Because this decision affects all Vermillion County residents. This isn't just one or two, this is everybody. And I think for the most part, Helt Township, specifically the Hillsdale area, Dana, seems to always kind of be left out on response times. And I think we need to definitely look at that when we're looking at something like this. And Tim, you said you had something to say.
I'm going to give you an update on the jail, the ambulance facility. We had appointed people to a board that were professionals that have experience. The recommendation they made is above, I think, any commissioner here to make that decision. They are well versed in those decisions. I don't believe in overriding a board that is very knowledgeable. I think it's very disrespectful. I think that what we started here is went positive. We're all the way down now where we can bid out the project. The council asked for 2 different sets of bid, one for a pole barn and one for metal construction. We have that in hand. We did have both of the ambulance facilities that we have now, currently have it at Clinton City. We signed a 10-year contract on that one there for $1,500 a month, which is a great savings. It benefits everybody. The other ambulance facility at North Vermillion, we have the prints for that. We're just working on finalizing the water source that's going to have to tap on before the meter. The rest of it is practically done and ready to be bid. The board up there was ready to, I had the paperwork ready to go to sign that agreement on that property up there, and they changed their mind because something was said in a way that they didn't like. And so now we got to go back to that board after the first of the year. The problem we have right now is we're looking at the engineers put forth a quote of roughly $750,000 to do the new facility. I know everyone says it's too much. We don't know if it is or not. No one does. But I will say you this much: when it comes to a grant process, they don't look at what you think. They look at what the engineer says. So we can say what we want. If it's right or wrong, they're going to look at the engineer. The other thing is we're looking at a grant process here at 90-10. We only have to provide 10% of the money to build the jail. The deadline for that grant is June the 2nd. Okay? We currently have over $85,000 at least invested. I think council could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at least $85,000 in engineering fees. If you take a $750,000 project, in that project, you can use your engineering fees as your 10%. So people say there's a problem with the funding on this, even if you don't like the $750,000. A 90-10 grant, you're talking about $75,000 that you'd have to come up with. With the grant money, the money you already spent on engineering fees, you've already got the 10%. The property up there is open. I don't know what better place you could have an ambulance facility than close to our schools. I mean, that's our number one possession. Number one, we consider. The other thing, the ambulance facility, the ambulance committee had recommended that it goes there at that place. And I think if I accept those, I mean, these people who put in their time are professional people and know exactly what they've done their homework, and everything is ready to go on that project. Now, if we hold it up for another 6 months, you're going to get another year out of it. But if you have a 90% grant and you already got 10% of it paid for, you already got the prints. You got 2 sets of prints, which they asked for. We got them. It's just a matter of moving ahead. And the other thing about the facility up there, the response is ideal because it sits on the north side of the school corporation, north side of the school, and you always have a problem with the railroad track. Well, there's a viaduct right there. They can get into the viaduct. They've done their homework. They can make recommendations. Really, the funding is there if they want to proceed. So I just don't want us to hold up and miss another grant because of, we need to get together and make a decision if we're going to do it or not, and move on. But the homework has been done. In my opinion, it's ready to go. We just need to get our head together and make a decision and move on out.
Tim, thanks for your comments on that. We will coordinate with the council president on a joint public meeting regarding ambulance information. I invite the public, any fire department, EMS, anybody that would like to come and attend. This is your community. This affects you, your loved ones, and everyone in this community. So we welcome you to come, and we look forward to that, and we will get that advertised as soon as we get that date set. If there's no other public comment, anybody? No? If there's none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
A motion for.
Motion adjourned. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Click off your recording there, Misty. Congrats on your first meeting.
I am. How do I turn this off?
Well, I think for starters, the email should be a county office number. So if